2019, a regeneration public realm scheme was completed in Portrush, just in time for the Gulf Open to be hosted here. I'm here today on a blustery St Patrick's Day in 2021, just to appreciate some of the features of that completed scheme, namely the surfacing that was used, and more specifically the concrete exposed that's been used in areas. So I'm joined here in Portrush with Sharon, who's an architect. Hi Sharon, can you tell me your connections with this area?
Yes, I'm originally from Coleraine, and my family, a lot of my family are from Portrush, born and bred, so this would be somewhere I would be used to be in my spare time, but also in the professional capacity as well as an architect. The company I used to work for, we worked on some of the historic buildings in and around Portrush, which has been part of the bigger regeneration master plan.
Sharon, I'm here today to focus on surfacing specifically, and even more specifically the concrete exposed. Can you tell me, just in your industry and personally, from being part of Portrush and the community in the summer and that, how important is aesthetics when it comes to surfaces in areas like this?
I think it's very important. I mean, there's even just the sheer scale of resurfacing work. It's very important to provide people with. It's important with the aesthetic, but it's also important for access. Public spaces are, especially in this last year or two, external public spaces have become very important to everybody, and to be able to provide access for everyone too in areas which, like in the likes of Lansdowne, which were maybe heavily grassed before, to be able to give people access to views, to seating areas, for external eating places where you can spend time with your family. I think it's very important. It's for access, and also durability of it too, help to sort of keep areas, I guess, sustainable.
You said something to me the other day that I thought was very interesting. You said that a lot of people don't realise how much they like or appreciate surfacing until there's something wrong with it.
Yes.
Explain what you meant by that, because I think that's very true.
It's true about surface, and it's true about any sort of external works and architecture, I suppose, in general. If something's wrong, people will notice it more than if something's good. If it's somewhere like this here, which is a nice place for people to sit and to catch up and to spend time with their family, they'll notice more if there's something wrong with it. So if a surface is uneven, if you can't bring a buggy over it, if you've got problems with like the likes of a wheelchair or access that way, then that's going to create issues for people, and they're not going to want to spend time somewhere. So surfacing and things like that, if there's curbs in the wrong places, if there's not dropped curbs in the right place, then yeah, it's not just trip hazards, but if something's just not a nice place to be, as well as it being practical, I suppose.
And just looking around at sort of the angles and the surfaces and the different surfaces, do you find this space aesthetically pleasing as an architect?
I do find it aesthetically pleasing in terms of the palette that's been used here, with the different textures, in terms of the seating arrangements being part of the surfaces as well. It's and obviously the placing of the likes of the street furniture, along with the different surface textures. I find that it's a nice job. It's a nice balance too, in that it's not overcrowded with street furniture, where you can sit back. Even like I was saying earlier on, the palette of it, the fact it's been used to match in nearly with the colours of the beach as well. So yeah, I think it's successful work, and people are sitting around, families are sitting around having ice cream, enjoying it on a not particularly warm day. I think that it's as a public space it works well.
Because it is going to be used by quite a lot of traffic, footfall, can you appreciate how low maintenance the likes of the exposed concrete is, and how important it is that it is low maintenance in terms of staining or sinking or weeds and moss growing and stuff like that?
It's very important, because it's somewhere that it's maintained by the council, so it needs to be something that's going to be durable. It's going to be heavily trafficked. It's going to have things spilt over it. It's going to have to be non-slip if it's going to be accessible to all times. Also, the likes of the fact that it's a surface that's easily going to be, say, power hosed and things like that. It works better. It works well with if there's any oil spillages or fuel spillages. Things like that are important, obviously, to maintain the life of it. And with the likes of weeds and things like that, are being kept at bay. Yeah, it's very important, because that'll keep a good durable finish to it.
In your opinion, who in your industry or who in the wider industries is the ideal customer or would be customers for the likes of concrete exposed?
In my industry, we would specify the likes of an exposed aggregate finished in public areas, in large public redevelopments that we've worked on, whether it be like a master plan for a town or whether it's like a large public building. So it's things like that, but also it's ideal for the likes of private owners' driveways. I currently work in social housing, so for areas like that as well, where you've got maybe communal areas at the front of, say the front of low-rise flats, and it's I'd say it would be ideal for both.
So Sharon, we're up here in the event space just off Station Square in Portrush. There's quite a lot of people here today using the space. Due to GDPR, I can't show a lot of faces in this video. So can you just give us an idea of the atmosphere and just what's going on?
No problem. Yeah, there's loads of different sort of, like I say, user groups. There's families, there's kids, teenagers, there's people sitting catching up, having a wee bit of shelter from the elements from the benches. There's clearly no school on today. Yeah, there's people sitting having fish and chips, sheltering under the big sort of tensile structure at the amphitheatre. There's people kind of just taking their bikes round the outside of it, round the sort of the bow end of the ship area, and there's people just making use of it.